is one I've been looking forward to for quite a while. Welcome to Ride 5. I've gotten into motorbike sims and games over the past couple of years now, and the Ride series has been one that's been very interesting to me. The best way I could describe it is the Forza of motorbike games. It's really a collect 'em and race 'em type game, customize your bikes, lots of road bikes, but also race bikes. And it's been an all-around pretty good time. I've had a lot of fun, specifically with Ride 4, the last edition, and now we have Ride 5. This is going to be very much a first look of sorts. This is not a paid review of any kind. I've bought this game on day one because I genuinely have been very excited to play it. And there's a lot of stuff that's cool about it, and there's also stuff that I'm a bit perplexed and stumped about. And I just want to talk about that, maybe do a quick race or something, show you around. I know a lot of my audience isn't directly interested in motorcycles, so figure I can share a little bit about what this title's all about and see if it's something that you'd want to try. And before you say it, the GP bikes, MX bikes, diehards out there, that's an awesome sim. I play that too. If you want to do the sim biking, that's definitely where it's at. But this is more of a fun thing, and I think with some of the stuff Milestone's included in this release, it could definitely be that single player type fun, just collect them, race them, nothing too serious type game. So at this point, the game's only been out for just a little while, and I've had enough time to ride around, put about 117 miles in total on my bike, and you're seeing the bike I've got. I've only got two bikes at this point. This is the Yamaha TZR 250R. Now, a big selling point of this game is this career mode, and it kicks you right into it when the game starts. It might be something that some of you folks out there really enjoy. It's very akin to the Formula One careers. Not exactly my cup of tea, but I think something I'll save for a rainy day. The nice part is you don't have to do the career. You do get kind of railroaded into it at the beginning, but once you do the first couple of little things, you can back out, and then you've got all the options to do the race mode. And something I absolutely love, and they did this in the last games as well, is that you can unlock things without doing the career. So if you just want to do races or laps even around a circuit, time trials, you can still unlock stuff with that. So it definitely gives you a reason just to hang out and do whatever you want. If you want to do the career, if you want to do races, you can do really anything. So I'm not going to go through every little thing this game has to offer, but I do want to show you a little bit of bikes and things like that you can expect in the game. I only have the two right now, but if I jump into the dealership and I'll just go to all bikes here, there's a lot of bikes in this game. Now, the main criticism I've seen so far is that the majority of the stuff that's in the game is the same exact stuff that was in Ride 4. And from my experience so far, that's the case. I'm sure there are a few new bikes here and there. To my taste, just like with cars, I tend to like the classic stuff. And I've already looked, if I look at the Honda, for example, they do have the little old 60s Honda motorcycle. It's the same exact stuff that I saw in Ride 4. Here it is, the Halewood Special RC181. They've got this one, they've got the MV Agusta, and then they have the cheap one, which I had never heard of before Ride 4. This, I can't even pronounce that. The Patton bike, I think, is what I'll call it here anyway. Moto Patton. Cool little bikes, but it's really the same stuff. And so at a first glance, there's not a lot of new bikes on offer. And they're all credit unlocks and everything. You got to earn the credits. I'm sure there'll be DLC and stuff to more easily unlock all that type of thing. We'll jump over and look at tracks. It's broken up into the three different areas, I guess you'd call it: the Americas, Europe, and then Asia, Africa. I guess they grouped them together because there aren't a lot of tracks in Africa, but there are a few new ones. I don't remember Interlagos in the old one, but you do still have Masport. Blue Wave is this new track that they're touting. It throws you right in there at the start of the career. It's a very epic circuit by all accounts. Looks very simple though. They still have Daytona, Laguna Seca. Some of the tracks in this game are not the most accurate, especially something like Daytona, very goofy looking. And it looks the same in this game as it did in Ride 4, unfortunately. Many of the tracks though have alternate layouts. If we look, for example, at Road Atlanta, you've got 3 different layouts you can race on. So there's quite a lot of miles and things, and some good selections. Virginia International Raceway, I think that's where we'll be going to race because it's a great one on a bike, surprisingly. In Europe, the big addition is the Le Mans circuit, and I believe it's just the Bugatti circuit. There's no other layouts there. That's the only one you can select, but that's where they actually race bikes in real life, so it makes sense, and that's a great addition, especially with the endurance modes, which I'll talk about briefly. But you do got things like the Nordschleife, and of course, the most exciting ones to me, the Southern 100, you've got Dundrod, you've got the Northwest 100. So some of these great road circuits. You don't have the Isle of Man, that's only in the Isle of Man TT sim, but you've got the other road races, the other big ones anyway, and they're a lot of fun, very difficult tracks to make a lap around. Monza, Mugello, other good tracks. Some stuff I haven't seen before. I think these Spanish tracks are all new as well. So good stuff to check out. And then in Asia, Africa, I'll just scan through it really quick. I'm sure some other folks will go through these in more detail. Sugo, though, which I know from the old GTR2 or GTR mod for F1 2000. Suzuka, Scuba, and then Kyalami, the only African track from what I can tell. I guess that makes it Asia, Africa. So like I said, a large majority of this game is centered around this career mode, which is all the stuff in the advertising. It's very dramatic, that type of racing is life type stuff. But the race modes, I did want to talk about these. So there are 3 different predominant race modes in this game. You've got single race, so you can just set up a race, add a track, and go. So it's nice and easy like that. The endurance mode is very cool, and one of the features that they've highlighted is that you can save races. So you can do endurance bike races, and if you didn't know, like I didn't even a couple years ago, they do 24-hour bike races at Le Mans Bugatti Circuit, as well as quite a few other tracks. I think Suzuka has a pretty popular one. So it's a cool thing that you could do day to night transitions, weather transitions. That's all kind of new stuff. I think day to night was in the old ones, but the weather stuff is new. And so that's a really cool feature with the added ability to save the game mid-race. I think that adds a lot of interesting possibilities to the endurance mode. Time trial, you get what you get. Race creator, I think you can make a custom championship now, which is quite cool. And there is a split screen mode if you're playing this with some friends. That's always really neat to see on a PC game. Within single race is what I usually spend my time doing, is where you could set up the race that you want to have. So you can pick the track and we'll actually go to VIR. For weather and lighting modes, like I said, you can do dynamic weather now. So you can set up different sequences of different clouds and things like that. Maybe we'll start with a scatter clouds and have it go to clear during our little race that we're doing here. Time compression, things like that. So you could do a full transition. We'll just race into the evening and this will be quite nice. Under race settings, this is where I saw some cool new stuff. So of course you can set the number of laps, the AI difficulty. I'll talk a lot more about the AI in a second. They did add an aggressiveness option, which I don't remember from the last games. So you can make the AI, I guess, be very aggressive all the way to calm. I've run it on balanced. I've got some issues with that, which again, I'll talk about in a minute. And then you get to the qualifier. This was not in the last game, surprisingly. You couldn't do a qualifying session for just a custom race. So I'll do a 10-minute session. We'll just do some of that to talk through it. You then see the other big feature and massive improvement. We can have 19 AI opponents now, which is not impressive on its own. But considering the last game, I think maxed out at 8, especially for endurance races. I can't tell you how boring 8 bike endurance races were. So boring, in fact, I don't think I ever did one. So at least you have 19 bikes now. It makes the grid much more packed, and for a sprint race is a good sized grid. I'd love to see more, of course, but 19 is much nicer. So then you've got type of opponents to choose what kind of bikes they can race against you, tire wear, and then collisions, which I'll leave as on. So quickly, in regards to physics settings and things, you do got all the rider aids and stuff. I've got all of that off. I've been playing the bike sims quite a bit, so but plenty of stuff to help you out. I would recommend, if you're starting out, to turn things like joint brakes on. I haven't played at all with some of their steering aids and things, but I believe they improved these quite a bit with the MotoGP game, and so I imagine that stuff's pulled into here too. And so plenty of options. Motorcycle sims, if you haven't raced motorcycle games, they're very, very tricky, especially if you're used to cars. You kind of have to rewire your brain. It's what makes them fun, in my mind, but can also make them really difficult. So no disrespect in using riding aids to start out. So we'll sweep onto the front straightaway here at VIR. In the qualifying session, I'll see if I can put a couple laps together. I'm riding in the helmet cam. I absolutely love this view in any motorcycle game. And this one's not too bad. We'll brake for the first corner. Take it easy here on the first lap, see if I can get around without falling or anything. Nice late apex there. Just squeeze the throttle on. Not a lot of power in this bike, so it's not too difficult, but it is a lot of fun. And they've improved this helmet cam a lot over Ride 4. It's not quite, though, the same thing. If you've ever seen some of those videos that came out for Ride 4, and I'm sure there'll be some for Ride 5 as well, using their amazing replay helmet type camera. See if I can straighten out this final sequence of corners before the S's. There we go. If you've ever seen those awesome replays of Ride 4 where it's got the shaky cam and it's basically like a GoPro mounted to the rider's helmet, unfortunately you can't race with that camera in Ride 4 nor in Ride 5 here, and I don't know why. I don't know why they don't let you do that, because it's such an awesome view. I'm sure it would be hard, but it looks so realistic. It would be so much fun. This is a massive improvement, though, over the last Ride game, and I think it's pulled right out of MotoGP 23. They did a good job with the view in that game as well. Still pretty close to what it would be like as the rider's helmet, maybe stabilized quite a lot, which is helpful. But we'll try to find the apex around Oak Tree, get it onto the back straightaway here, get some serious speed going. I've got pretty much no HUD on. You can run full HUD with the tachometer and all the different options showing you all the drivers and stuff, but I like to play these games in kind of full immersion mode and just put myself in the rider's helmet and have a lot of fun with it in that way. Screaming down the backstretch though, right before the 3 marker there, get on the brakes. I'm by no means a pro at this. I think I can get around the course all right, but I'm not a real-life motorcycle rider. And I guess it brings up the topic of physics. So to my taste, in my first hour or two playing this, it feels quite a lot easier than Ride 4 was. And I'm not sure that's in a good way, but it's not doing anything that I find offensive or feels totally unrealistic. It's very much like an arcade sim type game, I think. And so what it's doing, it's doing all right. I've seen some complaints already on Steam. Just do a 210 there. I think I can do about a second better than that. I've seen some complaints on Steam already for the physics and stuff. I'm really not the guy to tell you. I don't think it's doing anything that's bad. It feels a lot like Ride 4, but I found it just a bit easier than Ride 4 to place the bike where I want it to go. It could just be that I've got a little more seat time with bikes at this point. I don't know. Somebody that really liked the physics for Ride on the Edge, the TT game. I think the bikes in that are fun to ride. I know they've got issues, the RPMs don't pick up when you lean the bike over. If you really want the most accurate thing, you do gotta play GP bikes or something like that. That's very much focused on physics, but because the controls and stuff already are not the most accurate, I'm just not as concerned with physics as I might be with a car game. So this is definitely good enough, at least for to have fun with for a little bit with the physics. And overall, it's actually quite a lot of fun to ride the bikes around the track and just try to make laps, figure out how you have to think differently to ride a motorcycle than a car. I think it's a great challenge, and if you're looking for something that's different, you're burnt out maybe on the typical car racing stuff that you do all the time with your sim rig, this might not be a bad option to have some fun with. While we're out here alone, before we get some other riders on the track, let's talk about one other thing, and that's the graphics. Not sure how well it will come across in the video. It might look awesome. I think it looks almost identical to Ride 4. I know there's a few things they've changed, specifically around weather and things like that. I can't really notice the improvement, and to my eyes, it has the same kind of foggy, muddy texture effect that you see a lot in something like Assetto Corsa Competizione with the way it does anti-aliasing and stuff like that. I think it's an Unreal Engine thing. I can notice it most on this track. If you look at the green and yellow curbing, we'll see some on the inside coming up here a little bit. It kind of looks gray at first, and then it turns colors as you get closer to it. I don't know if it'll come across in the video, but yeah, I don't think it looks jaw-dropping. I think they were touting, or at least I saw in some of the materials, just the graphics were going to be so much more improved. I think it looks very, very similar. It doesn't look bad. I'm also somebody that regularly plays DOS games from 30 years ago, so I might not be the best person to ask, but I thought I'd just point that out too, because I'm sure some folks will talk about the graphics themselves. They're definitely nice graphics, but they're nothing special. Ooh, as I hit the curbing there. Nothing special, especially when you see things like Forza, which does look very nice on the car racing side. I don't think this is quite up to that level of things. Alright, so set for 5 laps at VIR. Starting at the back, I redid the qualifying just to make it a little bit more interesting. Green's out. We're underway. Decent start there. Get it up the gears. Drag race down to the first corner. Bunch of smoke from the bikes in front. So we'll come around the outside as everybody stacks up. Nice and easy, though, into the first corner. A little bit of elbows out, road rash style, as we make it through the first corner. Get it into the second turn. Everybody fans out, single file. Down a couple of gears, try to get a run out of here, but the second series of corners are a tough place to make some passes. It's tough to get through here on a bike alone, never mind with riders everywhere. I don't think that's going to work. Let them back by on the inside. Set myself up for the exit here, right on the rear tire of the bike in front. I made a little bit of contact. You're able to get away with it. Although collisions are on, it's definitely not realistic collisions, and thank God for that, actually, because the AI riders, I got a lot to say about the AI during this race, but the AI love to run you over. And it's also extremely easy to run them over because they race very, very odd, as we'll make it through the S's here. You can see they're almost single file at this point. And I understand this is probably a kind of a spectator day at the track, maybe an amateur type race, but I think there'd be a little bit more passing going on. And I've tried all of the different aggression settings and things. We'll come through Oak Tree, try to get a good run out of here onto the back straightaway. Down too far in the gears, I'm going to get overtaken. I didn't get it down enough gears. It's one thing, most road bikes do not have gear indicators, especially not before LCD screens, so you don't quite know what gear you're in without the HUD, but that's how it is. You got to count your gears. It's not too bad once you get into the rhythm of it. We'll come down the end of the straightaway here, right at the 4 marker, maybe on this lap, brake. Coast the bike in, a little hot there, get it slowed down, a little bit of rear brake just to set it, and come through the final few corners. Definitely got to watch the AI through here. They're really bizarre in the final corner, I've found. There we go, sweep to the right side for some reason, come back onto the front straight and complete the first lap. Not too bad. I got around quite a few bikes there, and I didn't fall off, and I didn't hit anybody, I don't think. So we'll come down to the first corner again. But single file here, I've tried all the different aggression settings, and I think I have them on. As I finally make contact there, I'll take the line away. It's the very aggressive Moto 3 style pass. I think I have them on the second highest aggression at this point, but it really doesn't seem to make much of a difference. I think with the lowest aggression, they really don't pass, and with the highest, they tend to take each other out a bit more. So I'm not really sure what's going on. The same studio here makes the MotoGP games, and although they are far from perfect in that, they seem to crash a little too much there. They definitely race a lot more realistically than this. And in the last ride games, it's very slow there again. In the last ride game, Ride 4, I thought they raced better than this, but it might have also been that there were only, I think, 7 bikes on the track with you at the same time. I don't know. If you can't tell, I'm a little bit disappointed as we'll take all the curbing there, maybe even a little bit of gravel as well. I'm a little bit disappointed. I had some thoughts and plans maybe to do some cool videos of this game once I got better at it. Maybe some stuff like this without the HUD, try to make it super immersive as I get the gearing there wrong again. Bike right in my mirror. Not able to make the pass though. But thought it'd be fun to maybe do some races with the AI and things, and especially because this game has such an emphasis on the career mode, I thought the AI might race pretty good, seeing that they increase the grid size, and you've got things like the endurance events where you can save them and all of that. It's just not very compelling, at least in this very early state. I've only really raced these bikes at this point, so maybe it's these bikes for some reason. But I have tried them at Laguna Seca as well so far, and Brands Hatch, and both had a very similar single file type riding. And never mind the weird corners. It's always the final corner here and the one leading into the S's. They just take very, very weird lines. Of smoke from the bikes in front. They've either got some oil leaking, or I think what they're really doing is brake checking for some reason. it could be one of those things that gets patched out. It's just bizarre that it would be like this on the first day. So I'll try to swing around the outside. That might be a little bit adventurous of me. I don't think I'll be able to make that work. You're just so narrow then on the second corner. And that's where racing bikes is just a completely different animal to cars. Controlling the bike is one thing, and I'm doing a very, very mediocre job at that here. But then passing other bikes and trying to figure out racing lines and things like that, never mind setups, it's a totally different world, and it's one that's really fun. It's just a shame that the AI racing in this is not what I thought it was going to be. Now, I think folks will probably be already writing that there is online racing in this, and that is one of the other big selling points of this game, is that they have made it cross-platform, which solves probably the biggest issue with the online racing from the previous Ride games, and the fact that really nobody was on there. So try to get the right gear this time through the final corner, run it right out to the curb, get in the slipstream here. But the prior games did have a very, very low user count online, especially after release, so you really just couldn't find races. So maybe that'll be better now as these two hold each other up, and I'm able to swing around the inside, make a double pass there. Much towards the pointy end of the grid now. I think I said I have them on 105%, so they can go a bit higher in speed, but I really haven't seen them drive better because of that. It's just that they're faster. Is really get bottled up there. I might have made a little bit more contact to leave some rubber marks on this guy's leathers in front of me. So come across the line. I don't know how many laps left, maybe one or two. Let's try to make the most of it though. Come up the inside, headed down to turn one. He's got to run too, but he doesn't do anything with it. Spend more time avoiding the other riders and having them hit me and me hit them, because they're just not racing the right lines all the time, or they're just very awkward speeds. It's already hard enough as it is racing in these types of games. Motorcycle games is right there, just slam on the brake, able to get around them without making too much contact. But it's very frustrating, more or less, just because you have enough trouble just handling the bikes to take the curbs. Never mind avoiding all the other riders. So come up to Oak Tree, rider in front, sits right in the middle of the road, and just gonna run right into his rear end. That one's on me. So exit out of the final corner, onto the back straight. Hopefully in an endurance race, everybody gets spread out enough that you maybe don't have as many issues just trying to pass one rider at a time. But when they're stacked up like this, you can see the rider in front got checked up again from the bikes he was following. So try to make a pass up the outside into the braking zone. It's adventurous, this move. Slight side contact. I think every single one of these little contacts and bumps would be right over in real life. Certainly be on the ground by now. This bike in front sweeps side to side. So get a slipstream on him, come to the line. Oh, just right at the top of the rev range. I didn't get the gear. Wheel to wheel there. I think one more lap to go. Up to the top three. Just like that on the podium. So it's not all bad. The riding experience I'm having a lot of fun with, and I don't want the AI specifically to make it sound like I think there's nothing good here, but without the AI, I'm worried about how the career mode would even be, if the endurance racing is worth it at all. And at that point, you pretty much have the same game as Ride 4 was. So if you've already got Ride 4, and what you're seeing here doesn't light any fires under you, then I'm not sure it's worth Ride 5 at this time. I hope they fix it, because there's some cool things you could definitely do with this. But as it stands right now, it's pretty rough. It's definitely pretty rough. ABS is there right around the outside. Make a little side-to-side contact, of course. It's 50-50. Some of it's my riding for sure, but they make them so hard to avoid. They just don't behave like a rider would, I think. Get right onto the curbing there. You probably want to avoid that in real life. I might have a shot at the win here. We'll see. See if I can catch up to him. He's not going to have anybody to make a brake check here on the straight, assuming he actually does the full straight flat out. Top gear though. Man, the back straight at VIR is no joke on a bike. We'll come to the end of the straight though, up the inside. Brake as late as you can. Squeeze him out to the inside. The AMA probably wouldn't like that very much, but getting around the rider behind. We'll come down the hill. So a little race at VIR. Not very spectacular riding on my part, and very, very clumsy AI. It is what it is right now. This is exactly what I was thinking when I first booted it up. I can't believe it was released like this. So this is only the third or fourth AI race I've done. I haven't tried all the bikes, I haven't tried all the circuits, and so it's likely better at other tracks. It might be worse at other ones as well, though. It's really peculiar. I know this track wasn't like this in Ride 4, because I did quite a lot of running around VIR. Still a long ways to go to get better at actually riding, but I find it hard to see myself spending too much time with the AI the way they are. They're just really difficult to ride around because they're so stacked up. They take weird lines, brake at weird spots, and so even if you're doing a great job, you have to avoid them, like I said, more than race them. It certainly makes the thing that is already quite difficult even a little bit more difficult. I try not to make negative videos very much, if at all, but I was really looking forward to this game and was gonna try it out regardless of what others said, because I did like Ride 4 so much and I had a great time with it. So thought I'd share some of my initial impressions. I hope things improve and maybe I can come back at some point and do one of the races that I wanted to do, something in the wet around one of the Irish road circuits, full immersion style, just have a good time with it, practice it a whole bunch, race it on a cool older bike, maybe learn a little bit about that bike and share it with you all. But it's yet to be seen if that type of thing will be possible. Let me know though if you'd want to see more of this. Maybe I'll stream the old career mode over on my Twitch or something, but I don't know. A lot of thoughts so far about the new Ride 5. Interested to hear yours as well. Maybe I'm doing something wrong and I can learn from everybody else and have a great time with it. So for the time being, probably going to stick to time trial modes and try to collect some of the different bikes and have a good time with that at least. I think that's fun enough. So hopefully I'll see you on Two Wheels again sometime soon. So until then, this is GP Labs, and I'll see you all again next time.